Good morning, everyone. Today, I would like to take you on a journey through time, quite literally, to explore the fascinating beginnings of pocket watches and wristwatches. These timepieces are more than just tools for telling the hour. They are cultural symbols, technological achievements, and works of art that have shaped human history. Before watches existed, people relied on sundials, water clocks, and hourglasses. These devices were accurate enough for daily life, but not portable. By the late Middle Ages, mechanical clocks began to appear in church towers and town squares, powered by weights and gears. However, these clocks were huge, heavy, and fixed in one location. The dream of having a personal timekeeper, something small enough to carry, was yet to be realized. The invention of the mainspring in the early 15th century was the game changer. The mainspring allowed clockmakers to store energy in a coiled strip of metal, enabling clocks to become much smaller and portable. In the early 1500s, German inventor Peter Henlein from Nuremberg is often credited with creating the first portable timepieces. They were called Nuremberg eggs because of their oval shape. These early watches were worn around the neck or carried in a pocket, though they were far from accurate, sometimes losing hours in a single day. Still, for the wealthy, they were prestigious symbols of sophistication and status. By the 17th century, pocket watches had become flatter, more reliable, and more decorative. Advances in escapement mechanisms improved accuracy, and cases were often made from gold or silver, engraved with intricate designs. In England and France, watchmaking flourished, with craftsmen like Thomas Tompion and Abraham Louis Brigot pushing both technical and artistic boundaries. Watches began to be carried in waistcoat pockets, leading to the familiar round hunter case design with a protective metal cover over the glass.
The 19th century changed everything.
Industrialization allowed watchmaking to move from small workshops to larger factories. In America, companies like Waltham and Elgin pioneered standardized parts and assembly line production. This made pocket watches more affordable and accessible to the middle class, transforming them from luxury items into everyday tools. By the late 1800s, accurate timekeeping became essential for railroads, shipping, and business. The famous railroad watches set strict standards for precision to avoid deadly train collisions. Although wristwatches existed as early as the late 18th century, they were generally considered jewelry for women, while men stuck to pocket watches. This changed dramatically in the early 20th century. During the Boer War, 1899 to 1902, and especially World War I, soldiers needed to check the time quickly without fumbling in their pockets. The solution was to strap small pocket watches to the wrist with leather bands. Wristwatches proved so practical in combat that after the war, they became popular among men for everyday use. By the 1920s and 1930s, wristwatches were firmly established as fashionable and functional. The early wristwatches were mostly mechanical, requiring daily winding. However, innovation never stopped. Self-winding automatic mechanisms appeared in the 1920s, followed by water-resistant designs and shock protection. The mid-20th century saw the rise of specialized wristwatches, pilot watches, diving watches, and chronographs, each tailored for specific professions and hobbies. Then, in 1969, Seiko released the first quartz wristwatch, the Astron, revolutionizing the industry with unprecedented accuracy and low maintenance. Watches have always been more than mere timekeepers. They reflect fashion trends, personal style, and even national identity. For instance, Swiss watchmaking became synonymous with precision and luxury, while American brands were celebrated for robustness and practicality. In literature and film, watches often symbolize heritage, romance, or destiny. From heirlooms passed through generations to spy gadgets in James Bond movies, from the bulky Nuremberg eggs of the 1500s to the sleek smartwatches of today. The evolution of pocket and wristwatches tells a story of human ingenuity, industrial progress, and cultural change. Watches began as elite treasures, became essential tools for workers and soldiers, and now are both functional devices and personal statements. Every time you glance at your wrists or pull a watch from your pocket, you are holding a piece of history, a tiny marvel that connects you to centuries of craftsmanship and invention. Thank you for listening.